Hello and welcome to part 2 of this video. Let's go over a few common SMTP responses from Gmail. 451.4.7.26. Unauthenticated email from domain name is not accepted due to domain's DMARC policy, but temporary DNS failures prevent authentication. Please contact the administrator of domain name domain if this was a legitimate email. To learn about the DMARC initiative, go to Control Unauthenticated Mail from your domain. This is an example of a message that was throttled and most likely will not be delivered due to the domain's DMARC policy. Aligning with the DMARC policy will likely solve this type of throttling bounce message. 550.5.7.1. This message is likely unsolicited email. To reduce the amount of spam sent to Gmail, this message has been blocked. For more information, go to Why has Gmail blocked my messages? This second message is a permanent bounce where Gmail is actively blocking the message because they have determined it to be unsolicited spam. This is an indication that the emails you're sending to Gmail users are receiving negative feedback and should not be sent in the future. 550.5.1.1. The email account that you tried to reach does not exist. Please double check the recipient's email address for typos or unnecessary spaces. For more information, go to Fix Bounced or Rejected Emails. This third bounce message indicates that the recipient you're trying to send to does not exist. This can be the result of a typo email address or an indication that the sender is not using confirmed opt-in to validate that the recipient exists upon sign-up. It may also indicate that the sender does not perform regular list hygiene maintenance to remove inactive or invalid recipient addresses. High rates of invalid recipient bounces can cause reputation issues with mailbox providers as it indicates poor list building or list hygiene practices. Next, we'll discuss what to do if you start seeing throttling or block bounces in your email sending. If you start to see a drop in overall engagement but do not see an increase in bounces and complaints, it likely means that a majority of your messages are being routed to the spam folder and not to the inbox. It is generally the first sign that you have a sender reputation issue. If you can address these issues with some of the reputation reviews that we've discussed earlier, you can likely curb the possibility that your messages start to get throttled or blocked outright. If you start to see throttling bounces or delays in message delivery, it is an indicator that something is changing with your sender reputation. Review the SMTP responses on the bounce messages and see if there is more information and reasoning within those bounce messages to diagnose and remediate your issues. If you start to see block bounces, your sender reputation is likely low to bad, or something recently negatively impacted your reputation and you need to review all areas of best practices specific to the mailbox providers you are sending email to, where messages are bouncing. We will use Gmail as an example in this learning series video, but this guidance applies to most mailbox providers. Start with the SMTP response messages to see if you can diagnose any specifics within those messages. Oftentimes, there will be a link within the bounce message indicating more specifics to why the messages are bouncing. We reviewed a few samples in the SMTP responses we reviewed earlier. You also want to go to the Postmaster page or blogs related to the mailbox provider. Gmail provides significant amounts of online documentation outlining their best practices and what they expect from bulk senders to successfully deliver to Gmail email addresses. Some mailbox providers offer mitigation forms which you can complete and submit for review. If the issue was fixed, such as adhering to authentication alignment, you will likely see remediation within a few hours to a few days of your support submission. If it is something tied to your sender reputation over a long period of normal sending, you may need to review all your sending behavior and align with general email sender best practices and specifically align with the mailbox provider for which you're having deliverability issues. Lastly, we'll look at the specific use case using Gmail as the sample mailbox provider. Imagine that you are a large volume bulk sender who sends millions of marketing emails for your company. You normally have a delivery rate of 99.8% with 0.2% invalid recipient bounces, which is a good number for invalid recipients for a large active mailing list. One day, you start to notice that the delivery rate is dropping. If you can catch it early on, you can typically curb the cause of the drop. If your delivery rates drop to 0, it could be a number of factors, but it's typically related to either authentication and bulk sender alignment issues, complaint issues, or a real-time block listing like Spamhaus. The first thing you want to do is look at the SMTP bounce messages. They will typically explain why messages are being blocked or throttled. In this situation, we look at the bounce messages and see it's a 550 SMTP response with a trailing message saying unauthenticated email from domain name is not accepted due to the domain's DMARC policy. Contact the administrator of domain name domain if this was a legitimate email. To learn about the DMARC initiative, go to Control Unauthenticated Email from your domain. This means that you should look at the sending domain's DMARC policy to see if it has recently been changed or that your authentication mechanisms like DKIM or SPF are properly set up. Once you've updated the DKIM and SPF alignment based on the DMARC policy for the sending domain, you will no longer receive this error. This is a simple example of utilizing the information provided by the SMTP responses to fix delivery problems to major mailbox providers. You can also look to see if the authentication has changed within the Google Postmaster Tools dashboard and what day it has changed, so you can review if there were any updates or changes to the domain's DNS records that may have caused this misalignment issue. In conclusion, aligning with common best practices for sending email and aligning specifically with the mailbox providers you are sending bulk email to is the best path to successfully delivering to those domains. When delivery problems occur, it is usually the result of misalignment of those best practices. It is good practice to align with sender email best practices, which are typically shared across mailbox providers. Some mailbox providers do have additional requirements in order to successfully deliver to their users, and aligning with those mailbox providers' specific best practices will help ensure successful mailbox delivery. It is critical to be monitoring your performance and understanding how your message delivery and engagement is trending. When throttling or blocks happen, there are typically indicators on how to fix those problems within the bounce messages in the SMTP responses. Lastly, getting to the root of issues by monitoring and catching them early helps preserve your sender reputation and avoid delivery events that would otherwise impact your email program is critical. Getting to know recipient domains and mailbox providers you are sending a majority of your mail to will help maintain successful deliverability for the long term of your email program. This is the end of the SES Email Deliverability Learning Series, focused on monitoring email feedback. If you have any comments, please post them in the comment section below. Thank you for your time.